All right, I'd like to get this Fernley City Council meeting started August 20th, 2025. If anybody needs hearing devices, please come up front, see Ms. Swanson. She can help you out. To avoid meeting disruption, please place your cell phones in the silent mode or turn them off during the meeting. All meetings are recorded. When addressing the council, please sign in, state your name, and speak clearly into the microphone. Line item 1, Pledge of Allegiance. I've asked Councilman Torres to lead us in that. All right, thank you. 1.1 roll call. Ward 1, Councilman Hannon is present. Ward 2, Councilwoman Zoberski is present. Ward 3, Councilman Lau is present. Ward 4, Councilman Torres is present. And Ward 5, Councilman Mendoza is present. Line item 1.3, public forum. This is a portion of the meeting devoted to the public. The public may comment on any matter that is not specifically included on the agenda as an action item. Items not included on this agenda cannot be acted upon other than to place them on a future agenda. If you wish to comment, you can do so in person at this meeting or raise your hand featured in Zoom, *9 if you're participating via phone. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes. Please avoid repetition. The mayor may, at his discretion, hold comments until a second public forum at the end of the meeting. Public comments submitted prior to 4 p.m. the day of the meeting will be provided to City Council and added to the record, but will not be read during the live meeting. Any public input received after 4 p.m. the day of the meeting may be included in the record, but may not reach council members before action is taken. Is there any public comment at this time? And if you would, please sign in and state your name for the record.
Thank you. Thank you. I did sign in earlier, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Bill Wilsey, longtime resident of Fernley. Still tall, still have to hold up. I have some questions, and I'm hoping you
could probably hold that mic down because we have new mic systems, and I think it'll pick up your voice. Let's try it.
Let's try it. How's that? Thank you. Good. I don't come often enough to know that. I have some questions. Monday, we had a major event, hiccup, transportation in the city. It was a mess. Everybody knows that. I've seen no information in the media telling me what I'd like to know, and maybe many other people would like to know. We don't need to know what the item was. That's irrelevant. It was big and ugly and very heavy on a trailer of 16 axles and 64 wheels and tires, but then who's counting? And it broke down evidently near McDonald's and caused a huge backup. One of the questions will be, what can the city do in the future to maybe mitigate or reduce or eliminate similar events from happening? Another question is, where did that come from? I know in the morning it came from Fallon, and it blocked all traffic on morning commute from Fallon because no one could pass it, and they were not happy campers. I was out trying to get to my favorite donut store, and I couldn't get, so I missed my donuts. I'll live. And then where was it going? Did it eventually get on I-80 and go east or west? And then is legal here? There might be a question about the city's ability to dictate what can and cannot come through the city of Fernley on a state highway. The state might say, tough toenails, we're going to bring through whatever we want, and you have no say-so. I'd like an answer to that. So a lot of questions on the general subject. I've been encouraged to come here today and ask them. I can sit and wait for all the responses, or I'll just stand here if you'd like. So that's all.
Okay, so this is public comment, and at this time, we don't respond to any questions that are asked of council. But what we can do is, if you'd like to come into the office, make a meeting, we'll sit down with our public works director, and we can go through all your questions as far as where it was, what it was, where it was coming from, where it was going. I'm not sure.
I'm free tomorrow morning. Who would I see and at what time?
Perry Williams, Public Works Director for the record. If you just go ahead and give us a call here at City Hall at 784-9910, we can go ahead and schedule a meeting.
So there'll be no secret about answering the questions. It's just not in this forum.
That's correct.
All right, well, I can live with that. I live close. I came down. I was just very curious because let's hope it doesn't happen again too often. It sure messed up things.
You know, it did. And I live over there behind Rayleigh's, and it was kind of tough. I had to turn around and come the other way to get out. So anyways, thank you very much, sir. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Tammy Dittman, Fernley residents for the record. So I've kind of been not doing anything regarding the fire hydrants because I wanted to get my ducks in a row. Because obviously city doesn't care about our safety. So I've got 12 pages of hydrant information right here. Hydrants don't drain, they're below grade. Caps are rusted, caps don't open, and it still is like that. I physically went, I got this at 3:30, I went to at least 6 hydrants. Below grade 1 was fixed, but none of the others that had no pressure or do not drain had been fixed. So my question, and I know you can't answer me, so say you have a fire off at Prosser or Shortcut, and I bring that up because Prosser is the one of the ones that has the little metal thing on it says do not drain. It is on there, it's been painted over, but somebody kind of gently took the paint off. And then you got one on Shortcut further down. And that has a rusted left cap and it has a right cap that doesn't open. Between Prosser and that Shortcut hydrant, there are no other hydrants. So if you had a fire on that street or any of the side streets, where would you get water? So to me, you guys talk about how you have all this extra money that you can do stuff with. I think the best process would be to take care of our hydrants because as I've stated previously, the city would be sued by the insurance companies or even by the residents. And there is also vegetation around some of these hydrants, so it would make it difficult. And you can wander around looking and not paying attention to me, that's fine. But it is a safety issue. Again, there's vegetation around some of these hydrants. Fire department would have a hard time getting to them because it's not their responsibility, it's actually the homeowners, but that's neither here nor there. So my thought, and this should get your attention, is a class action suit for failure to provide services to the citizens of Fernley. Maybe that will get your butts out of the seat and in the street. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other public comment at this time?
Hi, Tessa Garvin, City of Fernley resident for now 6.5 years. I'm just going to call out the elephant in the room and find out if the city is going to be addressing, at least tonight, which I think they should, about what happened with one of our council members at another incident on Monday that occurred.
I'll let our city attorney address that.
Aaron Morton, City Attorney. Just very briefly, in compliance with the open meeting law, the council is prohibited from discussing or acting on any items that are not properly agendized and that were not placed on the agenda 5 days in advance. And additionally, any discussion of any individuals is required to comply with open meeting law requirements for notice. And so the council is prohibited from discussing any matters that are not included on the current agenda.
I can appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. Morrison. I think, in all honesty, I think everybody would like to hear some type of a statement since nothing has been said since the incidents occurred about what's happening, what's going to be happening, what the plans are, and so forth. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, if there's no other public comment, do we have anybody on Zoom? Nobody on the phone? Okay. We'll move on to item 1.4, looking for approval of the agenda. Councilman Hannon is first.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second that motion.
If we could, I would like to see 6.3 pulled as the contract agreement with the Boys and Girls Club is not finalized, and would like to have it should be finalized sometime this week, but we'd like to have a special meeting on Wednesday, the 27th at 5 p.m. to have council have enough time to look at a complete agreement with the Boys and Girls Club. The one that you received was just a draft, and it's not the complete draft. There's still a few little items to iron out. So if we could pull 6.3 would be great.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to amend my motion to approve the agenda as presented with 6.3 removed and rescheduled to the 27th at 5 p.m.
I'll concur with that second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to accept the agenda, pulling 6.3 to have a special meeting on the 27th of August at 5 p.m. to discuss line item 6.3. Okay, so all in favor? Oh, there it goes. They're ahead of me. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Line item 2, consent agenda. Looking for a motion on the consent agenda. Councilman Lau.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Lau, seconded by Councilman Hannon. Please vote. Motion carries 5-0. Ms. Swanson, would you please read the business licenses?
Business licenses for tonight include Walker's Window Cleaning, Max and Sunday Cart, Window Cleaning Services, the Sigma Network, Food Service Distributor, Taft, Steinis's and Hollister Legal Services, iRye Consulting, LLC Buddy Boys, new owner of Buddy Boy Donuts, Casino Accounting Solutions, Bookkeeping Services, JE Moving Services, Mo Passion LLC, sales of bath and body products, Creative Recreational Services, General Engineering Contractor, Gallagher Electric, Electrical Contractor, Land Arts, Landscape Architect, Certified Groove, Mobile DJ and Karaoke, nvvending.com, Vending Machine Operations, Michelle's Hobby Crafter, JT Ranch and Farm, Nonprofit, and Truckee Meadows Gourmet Express Meat Cells.
All right, thank you. We will now move on to line item 3. This is items for various public entity represented to provide general information to the council and public. No action will be taken. We'll start with the Sheriff's Department. There he is, Chief Deputy Branningham.
Chief Deputy Mitch Branningham, Lyon County Sheriff's Office. Good evening, Council, Mr. Mayor, Deputy City Manager. Thank you for having us this evening. Just a couple of quick things. Our volunteers on policing are going to be conducting a backpack giveaway this weekend. So if folks around the city want to stop by with kids at the substation between 9 and 3 on Saturday, they can pick up free backpack for the kids, help get ready for school as we come into the school year. Completely run off of donations and through our volunteer program. this year. So kind of a little bit of a new format, but we're expecting good results from it, and it should be a nice kickback to some of the kids that can stop by and see us, check out the office and see some of the deputies and stuff like that. The other thing that I wanted to talk about and spend some time on this evening was the Shop with the Sheriff program. As we're coming out of summer here and kind of winding down the summertime special events and community events, we are starting fundraising for the Shop with the Sheriff program that runs in mid-December. Last year, we had about 40 kids involved in Shop with the Sheriff. We take underprivileged youth from around the county. They go through a selection process at Human Services, and we partner them up with one of the deputies, and they go shopping and purchase things off their Christmas list, and we try and make sure that they get a nice Christmas and all the things that they want. Make sure they have warm jackets and things like that in particular. And we partner with a couple other groups around the county. They do hot chocolate and cookies and things like that, and it's a nice event. With recent price increases and things, we're up to right about $300 a kid that come and participate in those events. And so we do fundraise pretty much all year round. We start right after the program ends, and then along about this time of year, we increase those efforts. So if people would like to make a donation to that program or sponsor a kid, they can get in touch with Sheriff Pope directly, 463-6600, or stop by one of the substations, and we accept donations there. If people have a kid that they think would be a good fit for the program, or that they would like to see participate in the program, they can get in touch with us also, and we can get started on that process. We do have a little bit of a vetting process that we go through and make sure that we're selecting the right kids for the program, and are really trying to target the most needing people in the community through that. But we would encourage people to reach out to us, and any help that we can get on that's much appreciated. Otherwise, business as usual around the sheriff's office. We're moving forward. Things aren't slowing down at all, really. The sheriff and I were out kind of patrolling around Fernley this evening before we came over, and witnessed a vehicle collision over at Newlands, and stopped and helped some folks out over there, and talked to the deputies. They were kind of out and about, and things just didn't stop. They were off to the races as soon as we got done there. So still staying busy, but I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Council have any questions at this time? Councilman Hannon?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, Chief Deputy. I just want to thank you for all your hard work. It's much appreciated. The sort of the evolution of the last 3 or 4 years, especially the last 3, has been extremely significant, and everyone has seen the change, and we really appreciate your hard work. Thank you for keeping Fernley safe and the folks in Lyon County safe.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. North Lyon County Fire?
Good evening, council members. JT McCoy with North Lyon Fire. Just give a quick summary of our July runs. We ran a total of 306 calls of service. 207 of those were medical emergencies. That led to 107 transports to the area hospitals. And we had to bring in mutual aid to assist us with those calls 16 times. Only incident to report was the medical emergency that turned to the MVA at 6th Street and Main Street. Other than that, no other major incidents. One thing we have going, one of our members, Becky Howlett, is working on it. We do pink t-shirts for the month of October. There's order forms. I can get them, you guys copies and everything. The plan is to take the proceeds. We will wrap one of our fire engines in pink to support breast cancer awareness for a month, and also make donations to the National Breast Cancer Foundation. Want to thank the deputies. We had a fundraiser at Black Bear Diner for one of our members, family members that has cancer. They were a huge help with it. It was Battle of the Badges to see who could get the most tips. So I want to thank the public as well for support on that. And that's all I got if you have any questions.
All right, thank you. Is it possible that you could send the city the email for the shirts and that? So whoever would like to participate can, that'd be great.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody from the school district? What's that? Okay, we'll move on with city manager report. Acting city manager Lydia Altek.
Good evening, Lydia Altek for the record. I just want to give a few updates. I haven't given an update on the Raise Grant Nevada Pacific Parkway in a while. So we are now at 30% design. Very exciting. And that has been, that 30% has been approved by Union Pacific Railroad. If you've ever worked with them, you know that that's a feat in itself. They did a very timely review for us, which was great. The 60% submittal is scheduled for the end of September. The other good news is we've completed the NEPA required environmental review and received a finding of no significant impact status from the Federal Highway Administration. And construction is still planned to start in the spring of 2026. The Community Response and Resource Center, the city signed the notice of substantial completion this week, which will clear the way for the final certificate of occupancy. Project reconciliation is still underway, and the ribbon cutting, of course, is next week at 2 p.m. Another little bit of fun news, Pachetti Park. We received this certificate of appreciation and mentorship and dedication from the Comstock kids. They came out and helped city staff plant shrubs and flowers and general cleanup, and that part continues. We will be, there's more to come though. We're going to be working on the gazebo and get that finished up. We're gonna have a beautiful new community sign for the community garden, which was done by our own Rick Moser. It's an amazing sign. You'll have to see it when it goes up. Spooktacular donations and sponsorships opportunities have already started. You can check the website, and that will be on October 31st, which is a Friday here at City Hall. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. So now we will go ahead and let's go ahead and start with Councilman Mendoza.
No report from Ward 5.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Torres.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First off, big shout out to our staff member, Jessica Murdoch, for all of her work along with the volunteers and city staff at the Main Street Park. The planters were donated by Trex. So great job again, Jessica. RTC this past week, Regional Transportation Committee, 2 projects for Fernley that we approved. The first one is the Cedar Lane Reconstruction Project. So the second one is the Industrial Park Rehabilitation Project, which will include Industrial Drive, Salvador, and Resource Drive. So those are all going to be improved. And that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilman Lau.
It's that time of year. Football season is here. I'd like to congratulate Amphery, our head football coach for the Fernley High School. This last weekend, they beat Douglas County, and that is a good feat. Douglas County can play football, and they were always really slick and strong. And Fernley beat them 29-21. Incredible. I don't want to tell you how bad I got beat by Douglas, but that's another story. Thank you, Amph, and come to the football games. Pop Warner's starting Fridays. They're going to have Friday nights and Saturdays.
Councilwoman Zaborski.
I have nothing this time.
Councilman Hannon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to remind everyone that we still have the corridor study on our website. It's still up there. It's for another week. I think we have another week. The presentation that we had at the senior center, we had about 200 and the low 200s of response to that. If you're concerned about the roundabout, the 3 corridors in Fernley, which are from exit 48 to 46, all of Farm District Road and 95 alternate out past the high school. I encourage you to go to the city website, type in corridor study and fill it out. It's got a really nifty map where you can actually highlight areas of the map where you have concerns and leave your comments. All of those comments will go into the study. So encourage you to do that. Thank you very much.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Councilman Torres has something else.
I just wanted to add for the corridor study that we had everybody that was there, or the majority of the people were there. NDOT was invited to that. Our staff and Wood Rogers did a great job of fielding that, including the questions. I reached out to NDOT for our area project manager, and NDOT will have a representative there from now on. So they promised me, they just got busy. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. That I was going to mention that they felt really bad that they weren't there, but yeah, but they did send an email out stating that they will be at all the other meetings now. What I have is one thing is our the mayor's clean sweep and recycle. Now this is something new, and we have teamed up with Redwood Materials, Hero Environmental Services, and Waste Management. So and all the containers and everything are going to be at the out-of-town park behind the rodeo grounds. And you're going to be able to recycle tires, paint. There are a lot of things that you can recycle there. It's not going to cost you nothing. So I would encourage, and this is for homeowners, this is for residents, this isn't for businesses. And an example is you're allowed up to like 5 tires that you can bring and drop off. And there's certain things that you can't bring to it. And if you go to our website, it will say exactly what you can and can't drop off. Like they don't accept mercury, and believe it or not, and Joe probably knows this, but the little fire sensors in your homes, yeah, the smoke detectors and that, yeah, they're a waste. What do you call it? A hazardous waste, and they won't accept those. So that's kind of crazy. But go to our website, and our website will say exactly what is allowed and what is not allowed. You'll also be able to drop off your garbage, weeds, leaves, and stuff like that as well. So, and that is going to be Saturday, September 13th. Let's see. I guess that's about, let's see. I thought there was something else I wanted to, well, I'll have to come back to it. So anyways, that's all the reports. We will now move on to line item 4. It says we don't have any proclamations, but we do. But before I get to the proclamation, I've been doing this quarterly mayor spotlights, and the proclamation I'm going to present tonight goes hand in hand with the mayor spotlight. And so this mayor spotlight award is going to Diane Chapin. And we wrote up a little thing here that I'd like to present to her, along with a little plaque and stuff. And it says, "I'm excited to announce that I have chosen Diane Chapin to receive the Mayor Spotlight Award. Coach Chapin is respected, hardworking, successful coach and educator that inspires both athletes and students, as always, to do their best. Diane has been a dedicated math teacher at Fernley High School for 30 years and the varsity softball head coach at Fernley High School for 29 years. She is a resourceful and passionate mentor and an adaptable and approachable style. She is committed to creating a championship culture for students and athletes. Coach Chapin is part of the softball dynasty. She was ranked number 4 out of the 10 best high school softball coaches in Northern Nevada history. Under Diane's leadership, the Vaqueros have won 5 of the last 13 3A state softball championships, tripling the wins from 2007 to 2009 and added titles in 2013 and 2017. Those 5 state championships are tied for 4th amongst Northern schools, and they've all come under Coach Chapin, who is tied for 2nd among Northern coaches in individual state titles. She has led Fernley to 10 state title games, 19 appearances in the state tournaments, 12 times in the state championship games, and 7 state titles. The most recent one was 2025, where they defeated Fallon by ending the season with a record of 31-11. Coach Chapin has a 681 to 261 losses and 2 ties record at Fernley for the most wins in the state history. She organizes and manages 2 fundraisers yearly to provide Fernley High School softball players with extra opportunities to travel and compete in out-of-state tournaments. Coach Chapin is also Fernley High School's volleyball coach. She has led Fernley to a 308, 115, and 5 record since the Vaqueros won their first state title in 2007 and has gone on to win 72% of their games. Diane played softball at the University of Nevada softball team as a catcher and infielder for 4 years. When she's not coaching, she volunteers as a president of the Fernley Youth Softball League. Coach Chapin, myself, the council, and the entire city of Fernley are so proud of you and the positive impact you have made on our community and the role model you are to our students and athletes. We look forward to even more state titles under your leadership. So thank you. So now comes my proclamation. And so this is in honor of the Fernley Junior All-Stars Youth Softball Team. So Diana's years ago set up a feeder program into her high school program. And I think this is the reason why Diana Chapin is so successful at Fernley High School, is because she starts these kids out and has been involved from the time they're able to get and hold a bat, throw a ball, all the way up till they graduate from high school. And so this is a direct reflection of Miss Chapin. So whereas the Fernley Junior All-Stars Youth Softball Team has demonstrated exceptional skill, dedication, and teamwork throughout the season, and whereas the team has achieved remarkable success through their tireless efforts and commitment to the game, accumulating in their victories at the District 3 champions on June 27th and state championship title on July 11th. And whereas these young athletes not only showcase their athletic ability, but have also embodied the spirit of sportsmanship, perseverance, and respect for their opponents, coaches, and officials as they represent the state of Nevada at the Little League World Series Junior Regional, Western Regionals in Tucson, Arizona, and finishing in 4th place. And whereas the city of Fernley recognizes and congratulates the players of the Fernley Junior All-Star Softball Team for their outstanding achievements and for being positive role models for the youth in our community. And whereas we recognize the players, coaches, and parents of the Junior Division All-Stars for their dedication and commitment to youth softball and for demonstrating the positive impact of teamwork and sportsmanship in building stronger individual and communities. Therefore, I, Nellie McIntyre, Mayor of the City of Fernley, along with City Council, do hereby recognize the enthusiastically congratulate these young athletes for their outstanding accomplishments, and in witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of the city of Fernley, Nevada to be affixed this 20th day of August, 2025. And so what I'd like to do is have Councilwoman Zerberski come down, and we're going to go down in the front. We're going to name the individuals and the coaches, and where I'm going to give them a mayor's coin. So thank you. Congratulations.
See, that's the thing is those feeder programs. You and I got there, how we started feeder programs, and then it doesn't.
I can just use this one.
What this? Oh, go ahead. You
Want to do this picture first?
So
Okay,
you want to do the coaches first, and I'll give them this, and then we can do the individual.
okay. I think we're missing a couple of girls, but I'm gonna read off your names and then the mayor has something for you. Nala Burnett. Come on, don't be shy. Izzy Martinez. Emma Collins. Okay.
Okay.
Rain Fordley. Rhea Marsh. She's not here.
Not here.
Shaylin Smythe. That's okay. Ashlyn's gonna take it for her sister. Ashlyn played on our 10U girls and they actually got second place in state. So they did excellent as well. Lily Young. Nevaeh Leha. Mia Espinoza. Right here. Chili Richards. Brianna Pope, not here. Zoe Gillespie. Cadence Alexander. Yeah, the team was coached by manager Ty Ward, assistant coaches Andy Erdman, Darren Marsh, and Dave Alexander.
Three total that are missing? Yeah. Do you have anyone? No. None, yeah, thank you, sir. Good job.
I think also the girls have some really impressive state rings. So if anybody wants to get their autograph on the way out.
We take 5. But that, we take 5. Yeah. At this time, we're going to take like a 5-minute break.
We'll wait for it to go through process and then go. We're testing.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, we'll call this meeting back to order. We are now on line item 5, public hearing. 5.1, this is a second reading discussion and possible action on bill number 361 associated with CA 25002, a revision section of 32.03.041B, Comprehensive Master Plan Amendment, the City of Fernley Development Code to better reflect the requirements found in NRS 278.210 for amending the master plan. Ms. Rambo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ooh, that is loud today. Mr. Mayor, members of council, Michelle Rambo, Planning Director for the record. This is a correction that we've talked about before for the master plan amendment process. If you remember back when we were getting the Southwest area plan through, we discovered that there was it wasn't a discrepancy, it was just a little vagueness in our code about the process of how to do the master plan amendments. So we have now added language to correct that vagueness, to make it very clear how the process works. If you look at the red line copy, which I gave to you just before the meeting, and I do have copies if anybody in the public would like to get one. There's a lot of red there, but most of it is capitalization, punctuation, a few other minor fixes. Section 7 is where all the changes are. And so the language in there is threefold. It requires that an amendment cannot move forward to City Council until it receives a supermajority approval from the Planning Commission. Any changes or modifications to the master plan amendment by the City Council must go back to the Planning Commission for their approval. And then the failure of the Planning Commission to consider those changes proposed by the City Council within 40 days constitutes automatic approval. So that makes it in line with the NRS section, so there's no more confusion in the future. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
If we don't have any questions, I'll look for a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Count, do you have a
I think
question?
do we have to have public comment before we make a motion?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. Do we have any public input at this time? Actually, we have discussion with council, then public comment, and then back to council. So do we have comment from council? Seeing none, do we have any public input? Seeing none, if there's no comment from the council, Councilman Torres.
I move to approve bill number 361 as presented by staff.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Torres, seconded by Councilman Hannan. Please vote. Motion carries 5-0. Moving on to line item 6, staff reports. 6.1, a discussion possible action to revise the letter, offer letter for the city attorney and city attorney Aaron Mortensen.
Aaron Mortensen, City Attorney. What you have before you today is a revised offer letter. There's a lot of different markings or changes to it, but the only actual substantial change that doesn't just reflect the updated changes over the last 2 years is I am asking for a change in the offer letter in terms of termination, that if the council does make the decision or the mayor does make the decision to terminate me, that there would be a 6-month severance agreement. That would be up from the 30 days that was in my original severance agreement 2 years and 2 months ago. And just so everyone knows, the number at this point, of course, my wages change year on year, but at this point, that payout would be exactly $68,920.80. Obviously, I hope that number would never have to be paid out. I would much prefer to stay here and work here with the city council. But I'm doing that for 2 reasons. Number one, after I've been here for 2 years, I do feel that an adjustment from 30 days to 6 months is warranted and appropriate considering my position and experience. Additionally, that gives me additional job security and motivation to remain. I really enjoy working with this council. I think every single council member up here and I have had our disagreements over the years, but I think we continue to work together well. And so I'm asking for that change. Do you have any questions for me?
Do we have any questions? Oh, Councilman Mendoza?
I do. What is the normal severance that we've been offering all of our employees within the city?
So most employees do not have any form of severance agreement. There are the 4 salaried positions and the city manager position. There are, of course, the city clerk, the finance director, and myself. I do not believe that the city clerk or the finance director have a severance agreement at this point in time. Our last city manager had a 6-month severance agreement. He did originally ask for a full year. And I believe my predecessor also had a 6-month severance agreement, but I cannot recall exactly from the contract.
Yeah,
Councilman, go ahead.
oh, follow-up question. I want to make sure that we're doing something that's kind of standardized with the position that you are in. Is there any other references that you could give us in regards to 6 months being a standard?
I don't think there is a standard when it comes to severance agreement. I think when it comes to offer letters, especially with salary individuals, it's kind of on a case-by-case basis, and every individual city and every individual corporation handles it in a different way. So I don't think there is a specific set standard.
Thank you, Councilman Hannon.
Mr. Mayor, I'm prepared to make a motion.
Okay, do we have any questions? Do we have any more discussion before motions made? Seeing none, go ahead, Councilman.
I make a motion to approve the revised offer letter to the city attorney to add 6 months severance.
Second that motion.
We have a motion by Councilman Hannon, second by Councilman Lau. Please vote. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to line item 6.2, discussion possible action to approve the extension of professional service contract with Stantec for the Highway 50 loop design project. And who is presenting on that? Ms. Oltek, do we know who's presenting on this? The professional services contract with Stantec for Highway 50 loop design?
I would say whoever created the agenda item. I don't know.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilwoman Zabriskie.
it says Philga Farmer. Philga Farmer. Should it's be Mr. Songs.
Mr. Song, did you put this on the agenda?
This is Song Kim, Utility Director for the record. I'd like to make a recommend to move this item to next meeting because I'm not familiar with this one yet. My staff put it in there somehow, but I'd like to postpone this one to introduce to you at the next meeting. Thank you.
Okay, looking for a motion to pull this agendized item and put it on the next regular scheduled meeting. Councilman Lau.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to move this item to the next council meeting.
Second.
If you would state next regular scheduled council meeting.
The next regular scheduled council meeting.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion by Councilman Lau, seconded by Councilman Hannon. Please vote.
Thank you.
Motion carries 5-0. We'll now move on to line item 6.4, possible action to authorize the proceeds to design, planning, and authorization of recommended improvements for the Fernley East wastewater treatment plant for the total cost of $27.4 million, Phase 1, 2026 of $10.3 million, Phase 2, 2031 of $17.1 million, and accepting the presentation of the preliminary engineering report by Loomis and Associates.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. This is Sung Kim, Utility Director for the record. Current wastewater system has a lagoon and pond system to treat our wastewater, but we are losing the effective volume of the pond because of depositing and accumulating sand, soils and dirt and debris, and we estimate in 5 years. And this is a very fundamental system to treat the wastewater. The effluent quality is not very great, and this causes time to time other problems. And furthermore, we are not able to meet the nitrogen limit set by the state. So this is time for us to move to a new, more efficient, better system at this time. And our engineering consultant from Loomis Engineering, Jonathan, is going to present to you this improvement plan to the council. Thank you.
How do I?
Yeah, is it on?
You turn it on first.
Okay. It's on the side.
Aaron,
Okay,
you wanna-
got it on.
you got it?
Okay. Well, we'll find out.
It takes an engineer to figure that out, I'm telling you.
Well, I'm a professional emailer these days, but thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members. My name is Jonathan Lesbrance with Loomis and Associates. For the record, I'm pleased to present our preliminary engineering report for you tonight on the East wastewater treatment plant. Thank you, Song, for the introduction. So I'll be covering your existing system. I'll cover the PER. We'll go through our alternatives for the disinfection process as well as your treatment process. Conclude that with recommendations and then afford an opportunity for questions and discussions if desired by council. I'm going to try and take less than 15 minutes of your time tonight. So we'll jump right into the existing system overview. Your existing treatment plant presently treats about 1.5 million gallons per day. You've got a permitted capacity of 3 million gallons per day. So at the moment, you're at about half of your permitted and design capacity at the treatment plant. The plant itself consists of partial mix aerated ponds, and the primary goal of your treatment is to reduce organics and ammonia in your effluent. Effluent is the water that leaves the treatment process. At the moment, all of your effluent flows to the Fernley Wildlife Management Area, and it's categorized as a Class C in terms of reuse. So I would like to spend just a minute going through the Nevada Division of Environmental Protection, or NDEP's Administrative Order on Consent. That's the AOC. The Administrative Order on Consent was issued by NDEP due to elevated nitrogen levels in monitoring wells surrounding the treatment plant. So there was an indication that the treatment plant may have been contributing to degradation of the groundwater, primarily in the form of nitrogen. Nitrogen is a regulated contaminant with respect to groundwater and drinking water. So the Administrative Order on Consent obligated the city to take proactive steps to reduce nitrogen in the groundwater. And we've been helping the city to that end for a couple of years. It included the installation of additional monitoring wells, as well as lining, primarily for Pond 2. And at the moment, we're looking at relining Ponds 4A and 4B. The good news is that administrative order was lifted based on the city's ability to demonstrate a reduction in nitrogen in those monitoring wells. Now, we had anticipated that your renewal of the discharge permit would include a nitrogen limit. And the reason we anticipated that is NDEP told us that was coming. I'll give you a spoiler alert. This year, 2025, you did receive a renewed discharge permit, and there is not in that permit a nitrogen limit. Doesn't mean there won't be in the future, but at the moment, you're not obligated to reduce nitrogen. The reason that's significant is your current plant in the treatment process is not configured for denitrification or reducing nitrogen in your effluent. So when we set out to write this report, we did it primarily with a lens to the future on trying to identify opportunities for the city to revamp or rehabilitate your treatment process, specifically to denitrify. So I won't spend too much time on this slide. As I
I have a
stated,
question. Can we back up just?
Yes,
so
sir.
Can you explain what the category C on our discharge means?
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So category C refers to the quality of the water once it leaves the treatment process. And it also speaks to approved manner of use for that water. So at the moment, with water flowing to the Fernley Wildlife Management Area, that's effectively a discharge to a wetlands, and you do have buffers that preclude public access. So there are, I forget, 8 classifications for reuse. The highest at the moment is A+, which would be suitable for certain types of indirect potable reuse as being put to beneficial use, say, in the Truckee Meadows. Does that answer your question, Mr. Mayor?
Well, yeah, so I guess my next question is, and if it's a C right now, would that be categorized clean enough that the industrial area could use it for watering landscape and grass and trees and that?
No, we would need to seek a higher level of effluent quality, and that would be achieved through a modification to your treatment process.
Thank you.
Great question. Okay, we'll spend a little bit of time covering the PER. The PER has 7 primary components, 7 chapters, if you will. It includes the background on the existing system. It establishes the need for the project. It goes through the alternatives that we've analyzed along with a benefit cost analysis. When we go through that analysis, we end up with a recommended project. That recommended project includes information on schedule, scope, and of course, planning level budget. As I alluded to earlier, the need for the project is twofold. The first and foremost was to address what we knew at the time would be a pending nitrogen limit. You do not have that limit today. It is reasonable to anticipate it in the future. The other major component establishing the need for the project is the likelihood of growth. Our report had a 15-year planning horizon, during which time we project a possibility for your flows to go as high as 4.4 million gallons per day, which would exceed your current design capacity at the plant. Okay, I'll cover quickly the alternatives we analyzed, really 2 broad categories that we looked at. The first is for your treatment process. The second is for disinfection. I won't go through all these, but the treatment process was really broken into 2 main types of treatment, what we call mechanical treatment, which is a conventional treatment process using activated sludge where we've got mechanical equipment employing the treatment process. The other main category of treatment was a pond-based or lagoon-based system where we're modifying your process, in some instances adding equipment, but still keeping with the open ponds that you have today. On the disinfection side, we looked at 2 primary disinfection processes. The first is on-site hypochlorite generation, basically making bleach or chlorine solution on-site. And then the second would be going a different direction with ultraviolet or UV disinfection. I'll get into that in a little more detail on the next slide, but the flow chart on this slide includes our approach for each alternative where we consider, excuse me, monetary and non-monetary criteria. We put each alternative then through that cost benefit analysis and land at a recommended alternative. For disinfection, as I mentioned, we looked at on-site sodium hypochlorite generation. At the moment, you haul bulk sodium hypochlorite, which is basically a chlorine solution. You can think of it as bleach effectively, and that provides disinfection today. Under this alternative, you would instead be bringing in sodium chloride, table salt, and generating that bleach solution or the chlorine solution on site, but continuing with the chlorination process. Under alternative 2B, we looked at going a different direction with ultraviolet disinfection. And I know this slide is fairly busy, so I'll break it down for you. What I'd like to leave as a takeaway is how collaborative this process was with city staff. So we worked with operations staff, engineering staff, and public works staff. And we developed the criteria that you can see categorized on the top row from long-term reliability, that refers to the ability to reliably produce a quality of effluent, all the way through operations and maintenance costs. The weighting line that you see there with those percentages, we polled city staff to ask what was most important to staff members, and that's how we landed at the percentages. We then ranked them from an engineering perspective for each alternative across those criteria, applied the weightings, and landed at our prioritization or ranking of the alternatives. As you can see, on-site hypochlorite generation is the preferred alternative. Couple of reasons for that. It allows you to continue with much of your existing chlorination system. It allows for cheaper chemical import because you're bringing in salt rather than the bleach solution. Compared to UV, it's a relatively low electrical consumption and it has long-term reliability. I won't go through all these in detail, but as I mentioned before, we looked at both mechanical and pond-based treatment processes. We evaluated 3 mechanical processes and then 4 lagoon-based processes. And we put those alternatives through the exact same criteria and ranking process. As you can see here, alternative 3A, which is the sequencing batch reactor, is the preferred alternative. Although I'll note both alternative 3A and 3B are really very close to each other in terms of ranking. And it might be prudent to consider those as you embark on the design process in more detail, just to really establish what is the best solution for your future treatment process. But a couple of reasons, alternative 3A ranked higher. It's simple to operate. It is reliable with respect to achieving effluent quality. It's expandable in the future because you can continue to add treatment trains in parallel as you grow. And it's reasonably simple concrete construction as compared to some of the other alternatives we looked at. And then again, relatively low O&M costs. Okay, so our recommended project in the report looks like a combination of alternative 3A, the sequencing batch reactor, and alternative 2A, which is the on-site sodium hypochlorite generation. Now, for timeline, when we consider the need for funding acquisition, planning, design, bidding, as well as construction and ultimately startup of your new plant, we envision that as a multi-year process. It could take 4 to 5 years, which is what we've laid out here for your consideration tonight. And then the other major component that we went through is economics and a life cycle analysis for each alternative. The recommended alternative has a price tag of about $29 million. And a caution that that's a class 5 opinion of probable costs. It's sufficient for an order of magnitude and planning, but it really takes getting into detailed design to vet out all the components of the treatment process and to establish a firm construction budget. So this is a sufficient planning or budgetary number in front of you tonight. The actual cost of the project may be different. So that concludes what I wanted to cover in my presentation. I'm happy to answer any additional questions from council.
Councilman Mendoza and then Councilwoman Zaversky.
Yeah, thank you for presenting to us. With the systems you presented and these costs, will this include future growth of the city? Or is this just for us to maintain what we have now?
Yes, it does include the future growth, but we do have a phase 1 and phase 2 plan. Phase 1 is until the next 3 years, expand our capacity to 3.0 million gallons per day, which includes all the chlorination system plus SBR, sequencing batch reactor system. Sequencing batch reactor system is a modular system. If we see our city grows later, we can put another system there, which we are planning right now until 20 years horizon for the city growth. If we assume that our city is growing fast enough, we can provide up to 4.4 million gallons per day capacity for the wastewater treatment. Then we can put another module of the SBR system. That's not a big deal. So we can grow. Seeing that our growth, if city doesn't grow at all, we can stop at the phase 1 stage, which is 3.0 MGD, a million gallons per day capacity. Thank you.
And earlier in your presentation, you mentioned that we were at 50% of our capacity as of today.
Yeah, because of the pond system is decreasing because of the accumulation of the sand, the debris, and dirt. So in 4 or 5 years, we are reducing our effective capacity of the pond. That means we cannot treat as good as today in the future. And furthermore, current system is most fundamental system. Not many cities adopt it, especially if any growing city is not going to adopt this pond system because, it's low grade effluent and other problems. And visualize it is not very good or professional look. Plus the nitrogen limit problems. Later, when we consider our reclamation plan, we must have at least secondary plant to produce a lot better effluent to move to a reclamation process.
All right, one last question, and I'll hand it over. Is there an opportunity to utilize grants or federal funds from the EPA to help us with this issue?
Of course, we have Miss Brandon from the Western Nevada Development District is here they are helping us to get a grant from federal and the state government all along. So she can explain what her plan right now. Of course, we are pursuing every possible grant, loan, or anything else that can help us funding our system.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, if you would come up, that would be great, Christine. Thank you.
Hi, Christine Brandon, Western Nevada Development District. Just a couple of points of clarity, just before I talk about grants and funding. So the 2 different phases would get us, the first phase, thank you, would get us, as they mentioned, to 3 million gallons a day. And we're currently permitted, but we can't actually run the plant to 3 million gallons a day because of the sand issues, the nitrate issues that we have currently. And so in the new project, the first phase would get us to the 3 million gallons a day, which is roughly about 45,000 population. So it would bring you from 25,000 and change to 45,000 people you could serve. And then the second phase would take you to, they said, 4.4 million gallons a day. That equates to 65,000 people. And so that's what That's why we asked them to go back to Loomis and revise the existing PER, was to reflect the growth that we know is coming to Fernley. And so we kind of instigated that a few months ago. So that's what's brought us here tonight. So on to the funding, we are prepared to go to the Economic Development Administration, part of Department of Commerce, and ask for design funding to get us started, because if we don't take the next step, we're not getting to construction. And I know we're looking down the road for years to get to the final phase 2, but we have to take our first steps to get the funding for the design and pre-construction funds.
Okay, so we had Councilwoman Zaborski and then Councilman Hammond.
Thank you. Are you also on our agenda today? No, it's for some reason I thought that you were having something completely separate from this agenda item. I actually just had a couple of questions for Loomis. I want to make sure that I understand the very beginning of the presentation. So we had received a letter saying your effluent's not doing enough, the nitrogen's too high. And then we went back to get a permit and they said, you don't have to test the nitrogen, you're good. And so I guess I am just a little bit confused about that and kind of where we're getting like, well, this future regulation is coming. Is that just based on our, and the number for like the amount of nitrates that like, where are we getting that kind of average from? Like, it's not required in our permits right now, but in the future, it's definitely coming. I just want to make sure that I understand how that timeline played out.
It's a great question. Thank you, Councilwoman Zaborski. So NDEP had indicated that a nitrogen limit was pending when we were seeking the renewal of your discharge permit. We did get that renewed discharge permit this year, and it did not include that anticipated nitrogen limit. So NDEP did change course from the direction they had given us. Now, I do want to clarify, your current as well as your prior discharge permit does obligate the city to monitor and report nitrogen in the monitoring wells surrounding the treatment plant. Now, nitrogen shows up as nitrate and nitrite primarily in groundwater. And so it's a total nitrogen with nitrate and nitrite as a monitor and report. So that obligation still exists. But at the moment, you are not obligated to demonstrate a treatment efficacy to reduce nitrogen in the effluent. We do anticipate in the future that will be likely, just given the direction of discharge permits in the arid west. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
It does.
You were done?
Almost.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm not an engineer. So I'm trying to understand, the options that we went with, and maybe, in this process, if we can kind of see how they work, because I'm just picturing very large, like grit chambers, just with the process that you're talking about. And so, but it's hard for me to try and picture. And then the UV treatment, I'm like, oh, we're just laying it out in the sun, or hopefully in this process, we can get kind of examples of what those alternatives look like, how they work. It would be helpful for me as a council member to be like, oh, this is the system that we run, and this is how it works to treat wastewater. Thank you.
Yeah. Were you looking for more information on those alternatives, or?
No, I just think, I guess for Mr. Song, just hopefully moving forward, we can get kind of examples of the alternatives that were the recommendations that were given to us, and kind of how they work with our system and what it looks like, just so that I can picture it clear in my head, so that if I'm describing it to someone, I can say, oh, this is the system that we use to treat wastewater.
Yes, thank you for the record. Yes, we'll do. We will make you understand everything in clear mode.
Councilman Hammond and then Councilman Torres.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thanks for the presentation. I appreciate it. A couple questions. We have a 40-acre parcel that this equipment sits on currently, and then we have an adjacent parcel. I believe it's another 40 acres. So we're utilizing the existing parcel. We're not adding additional ponds or anything like that. So this is using our ponds, but just adding additional equipment. How does that, is that going to affect, you mentioned odor. And so how will that affect the odor? Because it's a big complaint in my ward is that people can smell this thing and when the wind blows. Can you explain how much of a reduction, or is there any odor or some odor, or will it be lessened? And my third question, you can answer one at a time if you want, because I'm piling them up here.
Thank you, Councilman Hannan. Yes, so at the end of the day, we still are processing wastewater, and the generation of odors is impossible to escape completely. That said, a higher efficiency treatment process like the alternatives we considered would almost certainly improve the situation over your current pond system.
Okay, thank you. And then my final question has to do with the water, and you said it was a level C, is that what you said? C like Charlie?
A category, but
yeah,
yes.
Category C. So my understanding was the water level when it's discharged is not safe for human consumption or contact, but it's okay for wildlife, and that's why it's in the wildlife area. Can you explain what that level will be when it comes out of the new processing plant? What level will it be, and will it be safe for human contact? Can it be used, like the mayor asked, for like purple pipe and irrigation, golf courses, things like that?
Another great question. And I actually do have a teaser slide that I didn't cover, but we've got the currently contemplated categories for reuse. And so you're at presently category C. If we wanted to go to, say, a purple pipe program, you could look at categories A or B. And I'll note on the right-hand side, you've got the restrictions, what we call administrative controls that would need to be in place. And really that speaks to exclusion of the public from contact with the water. So if you're looking for like a true purple pipe and median landscaping, irrigation, et cetera, category A would be required. That is possible with the treatment technologies that we've some of the treatment technologies we've evaluated. The recommended project is capable of producing it. But I want to point out there's a regulatory nexus to consider as well, that NDEP won't obligate a higher category for your reuse unless you want to change the manner of reuse. Does that answer your question?
Yes. And what level would be like cooling for, like, say for the Reno's building a data center and they use a lot of water. And so there's been some discussion about using reclaimed water. What category would that be?
That's another great question.
Like, I'm thinking of B.
Yeah.
Is that where we're going with this?
It's a challenging question to answer because, as you can see, there's industrial cooling for category B, but I would anticipate that, say, at a data center, you'd be looking potentially at a category A plus, or perhaps even a category that we don't currently have in place at this time. It's because of the potential for a direct connection, even if it's inadvertent. So
is it routine for somebody that's going to have a use that our level, so say, for example, we're at a B and somebody wants to use it as a level A, is it routine that the individual site would then treat it and raise it to a level A through their own process? Is that being done anywhere, or does it have to be delivered from us in that level for use? Does that make sense?
No, your question makes sense, and I'd have to get back to you. I don't have the answer to that question at this time.
Okay,
yeah, it's a great question.
Thinking about the future, and there's a lot of uses for this. And if we produce a B and someone needs an A, I don't know if they're doing it on site or there's a lot of minerals in the water, so I don't know if someone's utilizing another. After any questions, I'm prepared to make a motion.
Yeah, go ahead, Ms. Christine.
Chris Brandon, Western Nevada Development District. So during the design phase, this is very important to us for economic development purposes, but we want your plant to be able to produce the A or A plus. And so we're going to have to look at that during design to make sure that we can. Why is that important? Because it creates a revenue stream for the city to sell that water to it for industrial users, and whatever those folks might look like, we have to still figure that out. But I don't want it to go out into the wetland anymore. You're losing money by doing that. But right now you can't. It is not quality enough for any users. And so that's what we will be looking at during the design phase. And we'll be working with your utility manager and whoever the designers are at that point in time. But that's a huge revenue stream going forward that we don't want you to lose anymore. And this is a long-term, this is decades that this will affect. And so we do support the two alternatives that Loomis is recommending. I just want you guys to know that. But there's also that part that we have to be able to reuse that effluent and make it productive and profitable.
Yeah, so I totally agree. If we're going to treat this water and put this kind of money into it, I think we want our outcome, our effluent water to be usable. So anyways, Councilman Torres.
I was going to make a motion.
Okay. I don't think there's any other discussion.
I said I was prepared to make a motion as well.
Councilman Torres asked me.
I do have another. So the one thing that I want to say, and I'll let him make his motion, is that the recovering the cost is important, but we live in the desert. And so for us, I think the big issue and on everyone's mind is where's the water going to come from? So rather than letting it go out into a pond and evaporate into to who knows where, and then rain somewhere else, probably in Fallon, they get all our rain. I'm joking. It's good to be able to use that water and keep it here. So we have a cycle or endless loop rather. And I think Las Vegas is a good example. If you look at their water system and how they're recovering every single drop of water and they're trying to reuse, it's in the 90%. It's really high. And it's really incredible they're able to do that. But I think that's something that we have to anticipate and for dry years and for the future. So thank you.
Councilman Torres.
Thank you for your presentation, Mr. Song, and also Christine. We've been pushing this now, started with myself and Denise Lewis. Staff has been amazing. Loomis has been amazing. So this is like opening the door for a project that we have been fighting for over 3 years. This is huge to me. This is kind of my baby a little bit. So I accept the presentation and I move to approve authorization for the Utilities Department to proceed with the design, planning, and prioritization of recommended improvements for the Fernley East Wastewater Treatment Plant as outlined in the April 2025 preliminary engineering report for a total cost of $10.3 million in fiscal year 2026.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Torres, seconded by Councilman Hannon. Please vote. Motion carries 5-0. Now move on to line item 6.5, possible action and discussion to accept preliminary engineering report and design planning authorization and recommendation of improvements for the Fernley Water Treatment Plant with presentation by CDM Smith.
This is Song Kim, Utility Director, for the record. Our water system is entirely relying on the groundwater to get the water. This is the only water source for us right now. But our water production has to run 24 hours a day, or 365 days. So it's been 16 years to run that way. It is still relatively new system, but we are experiencing some fatigue or stressing out our equipment. So we need some time for our equipment to take a rest or to take a maintenance on it. But since we are running 24 hours, so we cannot do it. Another alternative is we can get our surface water from the Truck Canal. We have enough water rights to get the water from. By having surface water into our water plant, we can give a time for our equipment to rest and maintenance. Also, we can protect our groundwater system. If we keep pumping out of groundwater, it can give us a trouble later on. We cannot just pump forever. We have to recover, replenish the water to the groundwater time to time so that we can preserve the system. By having surface water from Trade Corner, we can take the water over 3 or 4 months, 5 months for the summertime, then we can have a time for our rest and maintenance for the system, and to help our groundwater system back to normal station. And one thing I want to note to that is one of the recommendation by the CDM Smith, which Conan is going to present pretty soon, is that we need a sludge drying badge system, which costs a lot of money. We are spending about $200,000 for hauling sludges right now, but the surface water is not as clean as groundwater. So we will produce a lot of sludges if we take surface water. We estimate at least 5 times more, which means we have to spend $1 million for hauling the sludges. However, if you see the CDM's presentation, the sludge drying badge construction is very costly, about $21 million. But if you consider the operational cost and the capital cost, it is the council decision. If we go for a surface water intake system without sludge drying badge, it costs about $17 million. It is another alternative, but you have to pay about $1 million operating cost for forever. I don't know. If you can, which means in 20 years, we can recover all the operation cost, but it's still, the step recommends the option 1 with sludge drying badge, but it is up to the council that which way. Option 2 is without sludge drying badge, we can have all new surface water intake system too without any problems. Now the Conan from the CDM will present the whole improvement plan to the council.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is this advance it this one?
Yeah, right.
We went through this before. There we go.
Got it? Oh, okay.
Okay. Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. I just want to go over our findings from our treatment plant evaluation at the Fernley Water Treatment Plant and the recommendations that we came up with for implementing this new surface water source that Mr. Kim has talked about. So with that, well, temperamental. Yeah. It went back to the beginning. Okay. Okay, so at CDM Smith, we were scoped with the task of finding, evaluating the plant, unit processes and piping to come up with a way to implement bringing surface water to the plant for treatment. The plant was originally designed for groundwater treatment. That's what you've been treating since its inception, since construction. Bringing a surface water source to a groundwater treatment plant brings in new challenges. The water quality and water chemistry are different between surface water and groundwater. So there are some changes that will be needed at the plant, and I will go through those changes and give you a summary of our recommendations for improvements there. This is a layout of the existing treatment plant. I'll be talking about some of these facilities during my presentation this evening. I just wanted to get you oriented on where things are at the existing treatment plant. So following the water from the new surface water source, which is the Truckee Canal, we would need an intake structure and also a turbidimeter that would monitor the turbidity in the irrigation canal. If the canal becomes too turbid, we would want to shut that water source off and not try to treat it. Real turbid water becomes difficult to treat and expensive and can cause issues at the plant. So we would have a turbidimeter and an automatic shutoff valve at this intake in the canal. At the plant itself, you've constructed a new surface water pump station. We would use that pump station with some modifications at the beginning of treatment. The goal of the plant and the plan would be to bring the surface water source online in small increments, right? You won't go full surface water flow at the plant right at the beginning. So to do that, we would need to either add a new pump at this pump station that's small enough that could turn down to take those small initial flows, or we could reconfigure the valves like we're showing right here. We could use existing piping, existing valving, and reconfigure that pump station to start at the low flows and then bring the surface water flows up at the plant. Up at the plant itself, we would tie into existing raw water piping going into the flash mix room where chemicals are added for treatment. On the diagram here, the green piping would be the existing groundwater. The yellow piping is the new surface water system, and then we would add a tie-in where we could blend or treat the two sources separately. Both the groundwater and the surface water could be treated separately. This is a layout of the existing flash mix room and chemical storage room at the water treatment plant. There's a lot of information here, but this is showing how we could add the new piping at the existing plant, add some chemical feed pumps and piping, and treat, like I said, we could treat the surface water and groundwater trains separately as separate systems, or blend them at various places throughout the plant. As Mr. Kim said, adding a surface water source does add solids as a waste product of treatment. Currently, you're storing your solids in tanks and hauling that off in a fairly wet condition, right? And it costs a lot of money to haul water and to dispose of water. We had proposed adding drying beds to the plant where these solids could be dried. You would need a minimum of 3 beds to begin with one bed being actively filling during treatment of the water. You'd need a second bed that is draining, and then a third bed that is drying and ready for hauling off. So you're hauling off dry solids relative to the wet sludge that you're doing now. We also said a fourth pond as a plant demand and flow through the water treatment plant grows, you could add a fourth pond as well. And there would be space to do that sometime in the future down the road. This is a layout of the plant right now, showing potentially where those drying beds would sit. With the introduction of surface water, the surface water tends to have organic compounds that produce taste and odor concerns in the treated drinking water, beyond different than what the groundwater would have. So many plants will have to deal with that taste and odor concerns that come from the citizens, the people drinking the water. So we looked at adding the potential for treating these taste and odor concerns with granular activated carbon pressure vessels that would take that TNO, what's called TNO, taste and odor concerns, out of the water. At this point, we're not making that recommendation to add this GAC system right now. The treatment plant folks are taking more taste and odor sampling out of the canal. Where we continue to evaluate that data and make the recommendations on whether GAC is needed at this point or not. This would be a potential layout for where those GAC vessels would be constructed at the plant. The red would be the immediate construction. Orange and yellow would be future as a plant is expanded, or if TNO concerns or concentrations are higher and we need more vessels to treat it. So the red piping would just show existing piping configuration changes at the plant. With this evaluation, we were asked to look at the existing plant SCADA system. The SCADA is an acronym for Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition. This is taking all the information from analyzers and instruments throughout the plant that goes into a central control system and helps the operators make adjustments in the treatment process. It's kind of the brains of the treatment plant. The SCADA system was installed originally with the construction of the water plant. We found that just adding these few items that we are recommending are that the existing SCADA system has enough capacity to be expanded to control the new facilities. However, the system is aging. Service and parts are becoming more and more rare and difficult to find. And we were recommending upgrading the SCADA system as part of this project too. And with the plant, the expansion of the plant SCADA system, you can also bring in, if you want, remote facilities in the water system as well, remote tanks or groundwater wells to get data from them right at the plant. We have provided some preliminary costs for these recommendations that we've made. You'll see on the graphic here, the first three we deem as necessary. We call the fourth one as a potential cost. That will depend on more sampling in the Truckee Canal. But the surface water pump station modifications will be necessary, as well as the raw water piping modifications in the flash mix area. That would include the new chemical feed facilities there. The sludge handling would have to be expanded as well with those drying beds. And then the SCADA improvements, we didn't cost that out. We just determined that there is a space to add these improvements into the existing system, but that would be a future exercise as to, if it was decided you'd like to replace those, that we would do an analysis and get cost data on updating the SCADA system. As we were completing this study and working with the treatment plant personnel, we were informed that the city has started some monitoring in the groundwater wells for PFAS chemicals. This is the polyfluoroalkyl substances that are kind of the hot buzzword right now around the country. Preliminary sampling has indicated that 3 of the city's wells are showing concentrations of PFAS, the PFOS variety in the wells themselves. And so this could factor in down the road on decisions made on what treatment processes are added with this surface water project. It may be that we can combine removal of PFAS with removal of the TNO, for example, or it could be its own entity that has to be dealt with. But so the regulatory update on PFAS, like I said, the city has 3 wells that have shown elevated levels, or not elevated levels, but levels above the MCL of 4. The compliance deadline that working with the EPA has been extended. It was originally 2029 for all treatment implementations to be made. That's going to be extended to 2031. So there is a little time. The EPA is recommending that cities and municipalities continue on the schedule on dealing with and treating PFAS in the system. So next steps for the water plant would be continued sampling to determine if the GAC is needed for treatment at this time. Also conduct, like I said, conduct the survey of the SCADA system for potential for upgrades or replacement of the SCADA system. And then we would recommend working with the regulators to determine if PFAS removal and treatment is necessary at the plant. That would involve engaging state regulators, Bureau of Safe Drinking Water, and then develop from there, move into defining a project and proceeding on to design and construction of the improvements. So with that, I leave it up to you if you have any questions.
Councilman Mendoza. And
thank
then
you.
Councilwoman Zaberski.
Thank you for your presentation. With the SCADA, can you reiterate the SCADA issue and why we would need to upgrade SCADA?
Yeah, so like with most electronics, things become obsolete over time, right? So the replacement parts for these programmable logic controllers that you have at the plant are becoming hard to find, if not impossible to find, and also getting service from the service techs to work on the system if there are hiccups or things that need to be fixed or replaced. That's becoming an issue with these older systems. Yeah.
Okay, and then one last question. If we upgrade the SCADA system, do we have to remove and replace all the instrumentation that sends all that information, or will the new system be compatible with the instrumentation that's in place?
I believe the instrumentation would remain, and yeah. So that wouldn't have to be replaced. So all your analyzers and meters and things out in the field would, you could keep. We have the wires even coming back to the central command center. So even the wires could be replaced. It'd just be kind of the guts and the brains of the system. There's programmable logic controllers that control devices. You'll have some remote instrumentation units that are programmed. So the guts of those things, the software and hardware of those things would be upgraded, but the devices themselves wouldn't need to be. Yeah.
Thank you.
You bet.
Councilwoman Zaberski.
I think that my main questions have to do with the sludge ponds.
Okay.
Just because it seems like there's like a couple of different types of sludge ponds and what ours would look like. I really don't want to bring any more extra smells
Sure.
into the city. So it was smells, insects, rodents. We do have, houses and stuff back there, near our wastewater.
Mhm.
So I was trying to look at the map and see if that was 80 right there that those ponds kind of back up next to, or I guess just, I'm trying to picture that and what kind of ponds they are and how that works.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So what we envision is a cement soil lined ponds. So they would be somewhat impervious, right? That you could drive on them. You get a skid down there to scoop the solids out. The ponds would be open basin, slope sides with kind of a ramp going down into them. They would have on the far end, they would have a decant structure where you could decant the clear water, as the solids settle to the bottom. You decant the clear water that gets pumped back up to the head of the plant and treated for treatment. The water sludge typically is not as odorous as wastewater sludge. I don't know that would be quite the problem you would have like at the wastewater plant, for example, as far as odors. You would have, large, several hundred feet long, open basins with water, with, dewatered sludge and with dry sludge. And they would kind of get rotated throughout the year as you fill and empty them. But, yeah.
Okay. I can kind of picture it.
Okay.
I'll just keep trying to research the
Okay.
different types of ponds,
Yeah,
just so that I
can
can fully understand it.
kind of bring back up that first slide if that helps. I don't know if that shows enough of the area to orient
Yeah.
where you're at, but yeah. So, okay.
And yeah, no.
Yeah.
Even with it coming from the river, I would just imagine that any kind of solids that we're taking out of there are gonna be
Sir, if you would, come up, state your name and there you
Yeah,
go.
this is Servando
For the
Molina,
record.
Servando Molina, yeah.
Yeah, my name is Servando Molina. I'm a client service manager with CDM Smith. And that's a great question. But yeah, luckily, drinking water treatment plant sludge, it's completely different from the odors and smells that you're used to on a wastewater treatment plant. This is relatively inert material that's being removed by the drinking water plant. So we don't have the same concerns as you would on ponds used for wastewater treatment.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then is the process as far as like cleaning out those sludge ponds also included in here? Like, does the city of Fernley have equipment? Would that be something we'd be contracting out as far as cleaning out those sludge ponds?
You could do it either way. It's relatively easy.
Okay.
You just use a backhoe or something like that to remove the dry sludge. They call it solids, or you could contract it out. But
Okay.
it's relatively straightforward. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Councilman Hannan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thanks for the presentation. I have a question. I've toured the facility many times. So when we remove the arsenic from the water, my understanding is that through that process, it becomes sort of inert so that we can, it's not a hazardous material at that point, and we take it to a landfill and we dump it in that capacity. Is that correct?
Right, yeah, you want to talk that one, you know, the arsenic, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's regulatory limits that characterize whether a sludge is hazardous or not. There's some testing that is prescribed and some analysis that you would do. And depending on the results, that would determine whether or not the dried sludge needs to be disposed in a hazardous waste landfill or a non-hazardous waste landfill.
So when we're dealing with service water, for example, in Reno and Sparks, and we have a big rain and all of that street water washes all the oil and the grime and the nasties from the cars and the parking lots into the Truckee River, and then we pull it out. When we have these drying beds, is that material then contaminated with any of that material? Does it become a hazardous material, or is it still inert?
I think for the most part, the levels that you end up getting into a water treatment plant don't end up resulting in hazardous sludge, but that would be determined, right, by actually sampling the sludge, going through the various tests that are available to make the determination. But most of the time, it's not.
So the majority of the sludge is just turbidity from the water circulating and dirt and sand and all that stuff, organic material, leaves and stuff like that. So that's what we're getting at.
That is correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm prepared to make a motion if there are no more questions.
Councilman Lau, did you have a question? No. Okay, go ahead, Councilman Hannan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move to approve the utility department to proceed with planning and design the recommended improvements for the Fernley Water Treatment Plant as outlined in the June 2025 preliminary engineering report with a total estimated project cost of $40 million. Furthermore, I move to approve a use of up to $4 million by the utility department to carry out the design phase of the project.
Second that motion.
We have a motion by Councilman Hannan, seconded by Councilman Lau. Please vote. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. We'll now move on to line item 6.6, discuss and possible action to direct staff to pursue federal and state grants to offset costs for pre-construction design engineering of the East Wastewater Treatment Plant.
Before council make any motions, I want to recommend that add one more sentence to it. Quote, at the end of this statement, just add and water treatment plant. We won't pursue any grant for wastewater and water plant as well. Thank you.
Mr. Mortensen, can I amend my motion or do I have to restate?
You can amend, Aaron Morrison, city attorney, you can amend your motion. It'll need to be voted on again.
So we have to go back and re-vote on this to include the wastewater and water treatment?
Sorry, give me a moment to think this through.
That would be the easiest way to do it, right?
I think the easiest way, Aaron Morse, city attorney, because it is a new item, let's keep it clean. Let's do a separate motion. Let's just do a separate motion for each item.
Okay, I misunderstood. Thank you.
Correct, because Aaron Morse.
This
city
is a
attorney-
different item that we're, 6.6 is a different item.
Correct, and because it is
Yeah.
a different item, it should be, let's go ahead and do a new motion so we can keep it clean.
Okay,
Does that make
so,
sense?
but we need the presentation and then we can vote on it, right? Okay. Yeah, Councilman Mendoza?
Mr. Song, as I understand it, on item 6.6, you are requesting for us to add verbiage to the motion for 6.6. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. But I was not aware of that the water treatment plant funding is also necessary. So I want to make it one motion, including both water and wastewater, if possible.
So the request is to proceed with grant evaluation for wastewater and water treatment.
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, got it. Okay, here we go. Do you have a presentation?
No, we don't have any other presentation, just
You have one right
wishing you
behind you.
approval for, yeah.
You have one right behind you, Mr. Song. Kim,
Do you want me to speak about it? Would you like me to speak?
Christine wants to speak on this. There you go.
Hi, Chris Brandon, Western Nevada Development District. I don't have a formal presentation on this, and I was asked when I got here that we would like to add water treatment. So it is two separate issues, but we would support your staff, your city, in exploring and finding the grant possibilities for both wastewater and water projects, because we have both of those and it's a lot of money. So whatever we need to do to be in support of the city, we're happy to do that in that pursuit of federal grant funds.
Okay, thank you. So I don't know who pushed the button first, but.
I did.
Councilman,
I did.
you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just
Councilman
wanted
Long?
to make a motion, that's all I just.
Okay, well, hold on a minute. We got quite a bit here. Councilman Mendoza?
Yes, I
Did
have
you
one
have a
quick
comment?
question. Does that change the agreement we have with you in regards to you guys helping us out with seeking out those grants by adding the water plant to the grant?
So we'll probably have to look at separate grant tranches. So right now, we're looking at the Economic Development Administration for the wastewater treatment plant for the design for right now, right? Next steps. And then for water treatment, we're going to probably look into the Environmental Protection Agency. We'll also look at state funds that would be available through the State Revolving Loan Fund. We're going to pursue all funding possibilities. Of course, the one that we would look at first are the federal ones that have a 80-20, where you have the 20% match. But we'll look at all avenues that are available for these types of projects.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Torres?
Mine was just a quick question. Ms. Brandon, could you mention what the EDA told WNDD when we were looking at funding for another project on what they would most prefer when it came to, instead of that other project coming to do the water treatment, or I'm sorry, the sewage treatment plant?
Yeah, they prefer the wastewater treatment plants, and we're always looking with them. It's always about economic development. And so that new wastewater treatment plant, that's why I said, like, it's very important that we get the purple pipe, that we have the ability to recycle it, but also to sell it to our industrial users. That creates more jobs, more industries coming, and they're coming anyway. So we might as well be ready and have something to give them. On the water, that's why I said it's EPA is usually who funds the water treatment because of their regulations, right? The mandates that they give us that, oh, you can't exceed the 4 parts per trillion on PFAS. Okay, so they mandate it, so they have to pay for it. So that's why the grants are usually through that tranche. But we do have the state revolving loan fund available for water and wastewater. They cover those two things from NDEP. So if NDEP has mandates and they're going to write you a consent order, then they also have to help fund your projects so that you could overcome your lack of meeting regulations, right? And all of the NDEP state revolving loan funds, that is federal money that comes down to them. And so it's still federal. So that's why we look at all of those avenues that we can.
All right, thank you. Councilman Hannon, did you have a question?
I just want to thank you for the clarification and thank you for adding more work to your
To my shoulders?
to your shoulders here. That's good news. I love when people ask for more work.
Yeah.
So all the luck.
I love being thinned out, you know?
Good luck to you on that.
Thank you.
We appreciate all your help.
Thank you. Welcome. It's our pleasure, really.
Councilwoman Zaberski, did you have a question? No, okay. If there's no further questions, Councilman Lau?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to direct staff to pursue federal and state grants to offset costs for the pre-construction, design, and engineering on the east wastewater treatment plant and the water treatment plant.
Second that.
We have a motion by Councilman Lau, seconded by Councilman Torres. Please vote.
Thank you.
Thank you
Motion
all.
carries 5-0. Thank you very much. We will now move on to line item 7, resolutions, discussion possible action to approve resolution 25-014 to implement negotiations with the Boys and Girls Club of Truckee Meadows for design and construction of the Early Learning Center. And I do believe acting city manager Lydia Altek will be presenting.
Good evening, council. Lydia Altek, acting city manager. For the record, this resolution formally recognizes the community partnership with the Boys and Girls Club of Truckee Meadows to allow them to design and construct the Early Learning Center. They've been at the table for the design and through the construction of the Community Response and Resource Center. This approval to negotiate with them to finish the Early Learning Center is welcomed. And just to let you know, the outcome of the negotiations will be brought back to the city council for approval before any transactions or conveyance is completed. And I have with me Mike Worm. He is the CEO of Boys and Girls Club of Truckee Meadows here.
And the ever famous Oscar.
Sorry.
Yeah, the more famous Oscar Aguilar. Yeah. For the record, Mike Worm, President, CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of Truckee Meadows. And available to answer questions if necessary.
Councilwoman Zaberski?
I think I'm just curious what happens to, if we approve something with TSK, is Boys and Girls Club going to still use those designs or just do their own completely? I'm just curious.
Yeah, our intent would be to put this property, or put this project squarely on our shoulders to raise the funds for that. The floor plan design, which was designed by TSK, would be used, but we would probably put out to bid and see, find a contractor that could design build project that's a little, same exact function as required for the project, but a little more affordable for us to build and to maintain.
Great. Thank you.
Councilman Torres?
I don't see any lights. I'm gonna.
So, yeah, if there's no other discussion, Councilman Torres wants to make a motion.
I'm gonna make a motion. First off, thank you, Mr. Worm, and thank you, Mr. Aguilar, for being here. This is another huge step. I'm very excited for this. So I make a discussion. I'm sorry. I'm a little bit ahead of myself. I move to adopt resolution 25-014, formalizing negotiations with the Boys and Girls Club for the design and construction of the Early Learning Center.
Second that motion.
We have a motion by Councilman Torres, seconded by Councilman Lau. Please vote.
Yeah, but what is that?
Motion carries 5-0.
I just had a quick question.
Thank you.
Is that including the playground? Or no? Sorry.
Aaron Morton, City Attorney, the playground is included in the original CRRC
Okay.
discussion.
I just wanted to make sure.
So line item 8, this portion of the meeting devoted to the public. If you wish to comment, you can do so in person at the meeting. Raise your hand featured in Zoom. Star 9 if you're participating phone. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes. Please avoid repetition. Is there any public input at this time?
Two questions and one statement. So, well, where'd Aaron go? Okay. A couple of us have a question on when there's first readings or second readings, why they're not actually read. The other one is when you add something to agenda, isn't that a violation of the open meeting law? Like when you added the water treatment plant to the already agendized item of the wastewater treatment plant?
City Attorney Aaron Martinson.
Aaron Morton, City Attorney, I'll answer each of those questions individually. I'll answer the second one first because I remember it first. But in terms of open meeting law, as long as an item is close enough to describe the item that's being discussed, that's sufficient to meet with open meeting law.
Okay.
So if items change because the conversation leads them, as long as it's not significant changes, that's just fine. And that's within open meeting law. Can you repeat your first question for me, please?
When there's like first readings and second readings, why aren't they actually read?
It's an interesting tradition. The purpose of Aaron Morrison, City Attorney, the purpose of first readings was back in the day when not all council members knew how to read. And so the purpose of reading, and that was 400 or 500 years ago. And so the purpose of reading it was to make sure everyone was aware that the item was coming up and to give proper notice. And so the only thing that we do now is to read the title to make sure that everyone's aware of what's being discussed. And that's still the tradition in law to read the first and second reading. So we just read the title, and that's just to make sure that everyone's aware of what we're talking about.
Okay, that's kind of, it's not how, I mean, semantics. Also on the hydrant, there is a list. It's a 12-page list of damaged hydrants. So if you guys play nice with the fire department, they might provide it to you because I was told the city doesn't have a copy. Thanks.
Thank you. That would be nice. Any other public comment at this time? Anybody on Zoom? Anybody on the phone? Okay, so we will have a special meeting next Wednesday, August 27th at 5 p.m. And then outside of that, our next regular meeting will be September 3rd at 5 p.m. This meeting is adjourned.